Edge of Tomorrow is not as good as people say it is. Everybody's treating it like some hidden gem masterpiece that deserved so much more money than it got. But to me, my praise stops at, it was alright. I mean, I wouldn't call it a bad movie, but parts of it are really dumb. And before everybody loses their shit, let me just say that there are parts of it that I really love. Like other reviews I've done in the past, I'm not saying this movie sucks, it's just above average instead of spectacular. Some of these points hold more weight than others, but the only order I'm going to be putting them in is chronologically. So let's just start at the beginning. So the movie opens up with a news footage montage. Hey, why does Germany look so much like Russia? Now, although this is done better than the average news footage montage Hollywood blockbuster action movie intro, it would be nice to feel as though there's some other way to relay information to audience members at the beginning of a Hollywood blockbuster action movie. Kinda beating a dead horse there. Still, like I said, credit where credit is due, this intro is done slightly better than a lot of other intros that are nearly identical to it. Rather than just informing us of the political climate in the story's universe, we're able to gather information about specific characters that appear in the film. We learn that Rita is being held up as the Angel of Verdun.
He was able to kill hundreds of mimics on only her first day in combat.
After having seen the film, we can infer that it was on that day that she got her time travel powers. We also get to see Tom Cruise's role in the military, so even though they chose an embarrassingly overdone way to deliver this information, I'm glad that the information that we got out of it was at least important towards the story. We're then informed through standard action movie font that we're in London before we see our main character waking up in a helicopter. The helicopter lands, and as soon as he exits, we are informed again that he is in fact in London.
Welcome to London, Major.
You know, just because it's the standard in these types of movies to inform the audience members where they are on the globe using that exact same font, doesn't mean that you should do it, especially if a character is going to mention the location within a minute of using the title anyway. When I watch a film, I like to be immersed in its universe, so considering those titles do not exist in the film's universe, you should probably only use them when absolutely necessary. Obviously, this isn't one of my main points against the film, as I am just going through these chronologically, but it is an issue that to me is at least worth mentioning. So this general starts telling Tom Cruise about Operation Downfall.
A lot of good soldiers are going to die tomorrow, Major. You know, when the smoke clears and the body bags start coming home, people tend to look for someone to blame, someone like me.
So because he doesn't want to be blamed for these deaths, he tells Tom Cruise that he needs to go film Operation Downfall in the first wave. Tom Cruise is like, no thanks, I don't want to die. And the general's like,
It's not an offer, Major, it's an order.
So Tom Cruise realizes he's not getting through to him, and out of desperation, he tries to blackmail him, which almost seems to work until...
Arrest this man.
Ah, shit. He then wakes up and finds out he is not where he wants to be. He explains that he's an American officer and asks to use a phone to sort out this mistake, but it looks like that general from before has indeed fucked him over.
It says here you were caught impersonating an officer. It says here you'd likely try to make an outside call, even compromise security of this operation. Anything to get out of combat duty tomorrow.
He then gets introduced to J-Squad, and I personally love this scene. Now, I have no idea if any of these characters are in the manga, but something about the way they're delivered is so interesting and fun to watch. I mean, especially with Mr. Blank Slate as our main character. By the end of this scene, we'll have only seen these characters for less than 2 minutes, and already they have loads of personality. The relationship between J-Squad and the Sergeant is clearly shown without having to explain it, and it does a great job of emphasizing just how screwed Tom Cruise is.
You're not in uniform. Private.
So now it's the next day and our main character is being thrown into battle. Typically when an audience is being exposed to something new on screen, it helps to have a character who's equally unfamiliar with it. Now that being said, I think the movie would have worked better if it weren't Tom Cruise playing Tom Cruise. He's not a bad actor and he was pretty fantastic in Magnolia, but it feels like this role was written for someone a lot younger than him. Anyway, he narrowly escapes death a few times, and then some giant thing comes out of the ground. As soon as it notices Tom Cruise, it runs towards him, but he's fast enough to kill it. Its blood gets all over his face and then he dies and then he wakes up again. It's at this point where he realizes he's in Groundhog Day. He experiences the same day again, remembering everything that happened. He uses this knowledge to save this girl, but then dies anyway, at which point he wakes up again. So we get an entertaining montage of him living, dying, and repeating. He winds up doing the same thing so many times that he becomes a badass and gets to this girl.
Come find me when you wake up.
So now he tries to escape J-Squad to find the female lead, and that turns out to also be a trial and error effort. After many tries, he gets to her and she starts explaining his situation.
What happened to you happened to me. I had it, I lost it, okay?
I mean, that's great. There's a cure. How do I get rid of this?
I like how he asks to get rid of the only reason he's alive right now. Yes, please cure me of my immortality before I go into battle again. What he should have asked is, how do you know that your power stopped working unless you've tried killing yourself and didn't come back? I don't have the power anymore. I tried killing myself and I didn't come back. There's a line of dialogue near the end of the movie that explains this a little, so don't worry, I'll get to it when it shows up. We're introduced to this character who knows everything about mimic biology, just in time for the fake science mumbo-jumbo scene.
You're not fighting an army. You have to think of this as a single organism. These common drones, they act like it's claws.
Alphas, like the one that you killed, are much more rare.
Yeah, they're like 1 in 6.18 million
Yes.
by my guess.
They act as the enemy's...
They're like its central nervous system. But this is the brain. It controls them all. And this is the Omega. And the Omega has the ability to control time.
Whenever an alpha is killed, an automatic response is triggered. The Omega starts the day over again. But you see, this time, it can remember what's going to happen just like you do.
When you killed that Alpha, you inadvertently entered the enemy's nervous system.
Kate, you've seized control of the Omega's ability to reset the day. You control the power now, just as I did in the dark.
Alright, so everything that every single one of these mimics is doing is being controlled by the Omega. If one of the alphas dies, then the Omega resets the day. But if the alpha's blood spills on somebody, then they get the power to reset the day instead, and the Omega loses the power to reset the day. If the alpha blood got spilled on an earthworm, would it get to reset the day forever? Tom Cruise pretty much insta-killed that alpha, so I guess we're supposed to assume that there's a bit of a lag, considering the day didn't reset as soon as it was killed. So the Omega's controlling every single one of them, and it sends the alphas into battle. Why? If the only way humans can steal that power from the Omega is to kill an alpha, why does it even send alphas into battle? Shouldn't the Omega just keep them hiding underground ready to off themselves? Like, even if it needs to be close by to be part of its central nervous system, it could still hide underground. And if the only reason they knew you were coming is because they've already reset this day.
What the hell? They're not supposed to know we're even coming.
We walked into a slaughterhouse, man! It's a slaughterhouse!
Then how did this even happen? Isn't the point of them resetting the day so that they know everything you're about to do? Apparently no other alphas have been killed in battle up until this point on this particular day. They've reset the day enough times to be able to strategically kill your whole squad, and then when this alpha notices that Tom Cruise is about to accidentally reset the day, at this point the alpha could just let Tom Cruise shoot it and be like, whatever, I'll just know where you are next time the day resets. But instead it does the only thing that could possibly give Tom Cruise the Omega's powers and goes, would you like a hug? Later in the movie, they confirm that the Omega is aware of how this happens.
Could have killed me, but it didn't. It was after my blood.
So they know who you are. They want their power back.
So why the fuck does it go out of its way to do the only things that could possibly allow it to happen? Man, I sure hope that those humans don't steal my ability to control time. I'd better send some alphas out there to hug them to death. Also, the Omega has the ability to reset the day, but instead of it being an actual ability, it's more like an unintended byproduct. Like, there's several points in this movie where it would have made a lot of sense for the Omega to just be like, whatever, I'm resetting the day now, bitch. But it's almost as if it can't do it unless an alpha dies. Like, if nobody kills an alpha, then it can't reset the day.
The thing you've got to understand is this is a perfectly evolved, world-conquering organism.
You know what I would do if I were a perfectly evolved, world-conquering organism? I would take advantage of the fact that I could reset the day if one of my alphas dies. It's clearly aware of its powers and its strategic benefits, but at no point does the Omega order an alpha to kill themselves. I mean, the humans haven't had that power very long, and they've already figured out how to take advantage of it. So even near the end of the movie where the Omega has its powers and it's witnessing Tom Cruise swimming towards it with a shit ton of grenades, not only is it apparently unable to manually reset the day just by wishing it, but it's never once thought, hey, maybe I should get one of my alphas to kill itself right now so I can reset the day and stop Tom Cruise before he gets here. This being the same species that stopped Tom Cruise from trying to kill himself because they knew it would reset the day. You've stopped your enemy from killing themselves because you knew it would reset the day, so why haven't you ever tried that? Not even for the sake of self-preservation does it feel as though that's even an option. Even if the alphas can't kill themselves, you can get another mimic to do it. Don't act as though their exterior's too strong or some shit. Weren't they firing a bunch of rockets at the beginning? Why don't you just leave one hanging out somewhere with a rocket pointing at its face ready to kill itself? So Tom Cruise does a bunch of training and breaks his back.
You get injured on the field, you better make sure you die.
Why?
Last time I was in combat, I was hit. I was bleeding out, just not fast enough. I woke up in a field hospital with 3 pints of someone else's blood, and I was out. I lost the power. Do you understand?
Oh, a blood transfusion. That's oddly specific. Is there a specific amount of someone's blood that needs to be in you for you to lose your power? Do you lose the power if you accidentally get someone else's blood in your mouth? You know, for something that doesn't exist, like time traveling into the past, the less you try to pretend it makes sense in a movie, the better. When you try to pretend it's something physical inside someone's blood, it sounds kind of stupid. Yep, I hit the 3-pint mark of someone else's blood. Now I can't do it anymore. If the power's in your blood, then why does getting somebody else's blood give the power back to the Omega? It's not like your blood spills back onto the Omega and then it gets its power back. Like, the only reason the Omega's not doing it is because you have to take turns. So then we get another training montage where Tom Cruise lives, dies, and repeats, until finally he gets a vision. So now they need to figure out how they're gonna get off the beach so they can track down the Omega. So we get another montage of them figuring it out through trial and error. So the Omega knows exactly what you're doing and controls every single one of those mimics, but it's controlling them to do the exact same thing every time. Like, if it didn't do that, then you'd never be able to predict it. It's helping you succeed for absolutely no reason. So if you're going to make the argument that the day resets for Tom Cruise without the Omega being aware of it, then how did it track him down to give him that vision, and what happened differently that time that didn't happen any of the other times? If the Omega senses that its powers are lost and it's trying to track down Tom Cruise, but it's unaware of the day resetting, then it would be looking in the exact same place every single time. The only way the Omega could eventually track down Tom Cruise is if it tried something different every time the day reset. Seriously, Tom Cruise was training in the exact same place and dying in the exact same place the whole time. So if the Omega eventually mind-tracked him down, it would have to be aware of the day resetting. If that's not the case, then I guess Tom Cruise just happened to crawl to the exact same spot it was searching every single day. And if that's the case, then that very specific spot would have had to have been its first guess. Clearly it has the ability to do things differently every time the day resets, even if the day's being reset by Tom Cruise. And yet it's controlling every single one of those mimics to do the exact same thing every single day? How does it benefit the Omega for Tom Cruise to be progressing? If it's aware enough of you resetting the day for it to be able to find you, then why does it insist on every single mimic doing the exact same thing every single time? If it's not aware, then how did it find you? You can have one or the other, not both. We then get a scene of Tom Cruise being confronted by people from J Squad, and it's this scene that really shows the heart of why people enjoy this concept. There's something about being able to predict everyone's every move that strikes a chord with us as human beings. It combines the what if things were different fantasy from time travel movies with the making people question their own sanity concept we see in a lot of popular prank videos. Having that sort of omniscience and mental power over people is something that we all wish we could do. So it's no surprise that even though this type of scene has been done a million times before, it's still entertaining, for now at least. So eventually they escape the beach, find a car, run out of gas, find another place, and then find a helicopter. Tom Cruise wants to siphon the gas from the helicopter, but Rita insists they should fly it. But first, Tom Cruise wants to tend to her wound. He makes her some coffee, but then...
How many times have we been here?
Oh, so Tom Cruise was just pretending that this was the furthest he's gotten when secretly he's done this a million times.
What are we still doing here? You're wasting time.
Rita, if you start that engine, you die.
Shit!
There's a mimic buried 20 yards away. And it attacks when you start the engine. Only one of us ever makes it.
Get in.
The only thing we haven't tried is a version where you walk away. Just go back to the farmhouse. There's a cellar, there's food. You wait there till I get back. You'll be safe.
I'm a soldier. I volunteered. I'm not walking away.
You die here. Right here. And if I go on and kill the Omega, you're dead. Forever.
Why does it matter what happens to me?
Really? You don't care if you die?
You're not being specific, do you understand? You need to be specific, otherwise I'm dead.
Why the fuck do you want to die so bad? He is giving you a potential option to save your life while he goes to kill the Omega. She doesn't even bother to ask him the circumstances under which she would die if she did start the helicopter. Like, maybe she could start the helicopter and prevent it still if she knew how it was going to attack her. But nope, she's in suicide mode. What's that? There's another option we haven't tried where I get to live and you get to kill the Omega? No way. Oops. If you're putting the mission ahead of your own life, shouldn't you be doing exactly what he says anyway? Is it not apparent to you that if you die, he will kill himself and restart it? If you want him to destroy the Omega, why aren't you listening to him? Adam, that's not far-fetched. People act irrationally all the time to transition the second act into the third in Hollywood movies. When you're going into the third act, people have to be sad or upset with each other, and how it happens is irrelevant. You should just enjoy the movie by ignoring parts of the movie. So now Tom Cruise decides that the only thing left to do is just not tell Rita anything. He destroys all of the mimics at the barn and then goes in the helicopter by himself. So he gets all the way to this specific location in Germany, and oh shit, the Omega isn't even there. So then this Alpha shows up and he's like super pissed. It stops Tom Cruise from suiciding, but he's sneaky enough to crawl into this little space and then he drowns.
It's after my blood.
So they know who you are. They want their power back.
They know who you are and they want their power back. They wanted your blood. Were they just gonna like swim around in it? Did your blood not get on any of those mimics those other million times they killed you? I guess it only works for alphas. And despite there being an alpha on the very same battlefield you have been dying 8 million times on, it never once decided to cut you open and swim around inside you. So let's just say that the Omega wasn't certain it was him until he showed up at that place. Did he not run into a bunch of mimics on the way to that place? Would it not have been easy for the Omega to assume that the one guy escaping the battle headed in that very same direction is the guy that stole their power? He died from those mimics on the farm enough times to memorize where they were. They could have just immobilized him and waited for an alpha to show up, but nope, this is a perfectly evolved world-conquering organism that's dumber than a small child. I mean, look at this stupid little shit. What, you think life's happy or something? You're wrong. Grow up and stop being a little bitch. And if the Omega's conscious of the day repeating, which the movie tells us it is, then it should notice that Tom Cruise is the only fucking person doing something differently every single goddamn day. And even earlier than that, it should have noticed that Tom Cruise was the only person in the battle that exploded an alpha over top of himself. I am trying to view the story according to the rules that the movie set up for itself. Why does this make me the bad guy? Time for some more fake science mumbo jumbo.
What is this thing?
It's a transponder. You stick it into the alpha and it taps into the wavelength connecting it to the omega. That's the idea anyway.
What? How the fuck did you build this shit? Hey, I built a device that if you stick it into a live alpha, it taps into the wavelength connecting it to the Omega.
Hey, aren't you forgetting something? The transponder requires a live alpha to make it work.
We don't need one. We got the next best thing.
Yeah, fuck you, guy who invented this impossible device. We're the real experts. This ought to resolve that conflict. So now they have to go on an adventure to get an actual working one. And hey, it's back where the general is. He manipulates him into opening the safe right behind his desk and giving him exactly what he needs. And apparently this is the first time they've ever gotten this far. They try to leave with it, but oh shit. All right, let's try this again, except now we have a getaway car. So while they're escaping, they jam it into his leg, and within 25 seconds of doing so, he knows exactly where the Omega is. So now he snaps out of it and they're still driving for some reason. What, do you think you're gonna go back to the fucking base? The same base where the general had complete power to fuck over Tom Cruise in the first place? Where is it do you think that you're going, and why don't you shoot Tom Cruise in the head right now? Oh wait, there's a major plot device that wouldn't happen if they didn't get into a car accident. So let me get this straight. The both of you are very experienced in this whole time travel thing. For Tom Cruise, it seems like he's been doing it at least a year in his time, and yet neither of them thought, hey, why do we even need to escape this building in the first place? Why don't we stick it into your leg in the same room as the general? If they did that, not only would they know exactly where the Omega is, but they wouldn't have any resistance while doing it because they could do it while the general's still at gunpoint. And if you didn't want to share that information with the general, you could just kill Tom Cruise directly after. Then Tom Cruise could just show back up and be like, hey, I know exactly where the Omega is. Let's start doing shit to kill it. But given the fact that Tom Tom Cruise didn't know how to use this device until this very scene.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Stick it in your leg.
Apparently, it crossed neither of their minds in the at least dozens of times they've been on this mission to get this device. What fucking reason do you have to leave the building in a chase scene? For what reason did you not try using the device as soon as you got it? Like, never mind the fact that your wild guess that it would work on a human being just happened to work out. Why on earth did you feel as though you needed to escape the building with it? Especially after you already tried it once and realized there would be an army chasing you. This is a movie that punishes you for trying to get into the minds of the characters. Either the movie just doesn't want you to do that, or the script itself doesn't understand the characters that they've written. Analyzing a movie is something that fans of the movie should be doing if they like the movie. Keep in mind that I'm able to enjoy it, it's a fun popcorn flick, but people seriously need to stop translating I enjoyed it into 10 out of 10. So they drive around a bunch going who the fuck knows where. Tom Cruise gets shot in the leg and then they crash. He wakes up and oh no, I got a blood transfusion. Maybe I shouldn't have tried driving away in a car with dozens of trained military personnel firing at my vehicle. There was just no other way. So Rita breaks him out and is like, let's start over, I'm gonna kill you now. But he's like, no, I lost the power because I got a blood transfusion.
I lost your power. I feel it.
Okay, so finally they give some sort of indication as to why they're so certain that they lose their power. Still feels kind of cheap to me personally, but if you're okay with this explanation, then that's okay. It's a nice save to a movie that would otherwise have characters making 1 in a million wild guesses that just happen to be 100% accurate, like certainty over the existence of the Omega, and certainty over this untested technical mumbo-jumbo device, and its compatibility with species it was not designed for, and the unquestionable fact that if you specifically kill an alpha, it resets the day. Not sure how they came to that conclusion, considering nobody could have ever possibly observed it. Here in Hollywood, wild 1 in a million guesses are facts. The story needs the main characters to understand this information, so how they understand it is completely irrelevant. They're just omniscient beings that enjoy taking the route that causes them the most conflict. So now that Tom Cruise doesn't have his powers, the stakes are really high. See, everything's super serious now because there's real consequences to death. They go back to J Squad and he manipulates them into helping out. So finally we're back with the only interesting characters in the whole movie. Mr. and Mrs. Blank Slate just didn't cut it for me, so this is a breath of fresh air. So J Squad steals an aircraft and now they're on the way to the Louvre in France.
Do not kill an alpha. If we kill an alpha, the Omega will reset this whole day.
We're not sure how anybody knows that to be a fact, but we will consider it to be one. How does anybody know that it's when you kill an alpha and not when you kill the Omega? The amount of evidence you have pointing towards either are equal. Not a single character has ever witnessed the day being reset by an alpha dying. If the day gets reset by an alpha dying, then you don't remember it. How did anybody come to this indisputable conclusion?
So what am I supposed to do if one of those alphas is about to kill me?
Take a hit for the team.
Take a hit for the team, or just make sure its blood spills on you and then you'll get the powers. You know, Tom, you've done that battle on the beach so many times, you don't think you could recreate what gave you your powers in the first place? Right now you're going into uncharted territory with no fucking clue what you're going to do. You have no idea how many mimics are there, where they are, what kind of defenses they have set up, or fucking anything. You don't think it would be a better idea to go into the setting that you basically have memorized to get your powers back? Is the movie pretending like, oh no, he can't do that because this time they know who he is and they'll remember him if they see him and then they'll do things differently. But hasn't he reset the day several times since they saw him? So shouldn't the Omega not know who he is now? Shouldn't he be able to go back to that very same battlefield and have all of them do the exact same thing that he's already memorized? Because if that's not the case, then that means the Omega can retain information even if it's not the one resetting the day. And not only would that do away with the entire idea of Tom Cruise stealing its power, like how would there be a disadvantage to somebody else resetting the day if you can do things differently every day anyway? But there would be absolutely no reason why the Omega would have the mimics doing the exact same thing every day in the first 2 acts of the movie. So can it retain information when Tom Cruise resets the day, or can't it? Isn't the whole point of the power that you can retain information when the day resets? Isn't the whole plot of the movie that Tom Cruise stole that ability from the Omega? You can't fucking have both, especially if 0% of the characters are going to acknowledge this major contradiction? Why don't you just go back to the beach and get your powers back easily? Then this Uncharted boss battle can be done 8 million times until you get it right. The characters are omniscient geniuses when it's convenient for the script, and the characters are bumbling morons when it's convenient for the script. Adam, that's not important. It's just the entire plot of the movie. The film's logic only gets contradicted in like every single scene. You should just enjoy the movie by ignoring parts of the movie. Let's all go to where we think the Omega is and hope that it's not the most heavily guarded fortress in all of the universe. Oh shit, we fucked up. Man, if only there was some way where I could have my time travel powers while doing this battle. There was just no other way. What a surprise, they get shot the fuck up. There are needless casualties and Tom Cruise almost drowns. So now all of the mimics that were attacking them suddenly disappear so our characters can regroup and figure out what the fuck they're doing. They decide they need to use this thing to crash into the wall so they can get inside. Two of them heroically suicide, and one of them becomes another needless casualty. It's a good thing the Omega's stronghold was a fortress of glass. So they manage to get inside and dodge death a few times. They see an Alpha close by and they're like, okay, one of us is going to distract it while the other one goes to kill the Omega, and let's just both expect that we're both gonna die here. Let's just remember that everything they know about the Omega is just what they've seen visually through those visions. You brought all those grenades, but are you certain that it'll even damage it whatsoever? Did your vision inform you as to how much firepower you will need to destroy the Omega? Like, you haven't even confirmed that it's actually here. You are doing this based off of a vision strikingly similar to another vision that was completely wrong, remember? Maybe this would all have been a lot easier if there was a way that you could have gotten your powers back. So she goes to distract the Omega and she dies. Oh no. Tom Cruise takes his chance and God damn it. So now he's swimming towards the Omega with a bunch of grenades, and the Alpha swims towards him to try to stop him. Let's just all forget that they could stop him easily if the Alpha committed suicide right now, or if the Omega wasn't comically unable to use its own powers unless an Alpha dies. The Omega can't control any of the other Alphas on the planet to be killing themselves right now. Can it not control any of the other mimics to kill the Alpha? Nope, because this is where the main character has to save the day. So the Omega explodes and everything it's controlling withers up and dies. And then, oh my god, the Omega's blood seeps around Tom Cruise. And you guessed it, the day resets. God fucking damn it. So I guess I'm gonna have to kill the Omega all over again, right? Well, that would be the most logical, so no. You see, this time when the day resets, the Omega dies before Tom Cruise killed it. And also, instead of him waking up as a fresh recruit like 100% of the other times he woke up in this movie, he gets to keep his rank as an officer. Yay! So like, even though nobody knows he saved the day, he gets saluted and respected. Yay! A, the Omega died, so the day shouldn't have even been reset. And B, if the Omega resets, it should still be alive. It's not like every single time the day reset for you before, the enemies weren't still there that you already killed. Fuck logic. What people want is a happy ending. I need to know. So overall, this movie was way too distractingly inconsistent and self-contradictory for me to be able to consider it great. There were parts of it that I loved, but a lot of it I just couldn't take seriously. It was generally fun to watch, but unlike the movies that I love, this is one that punishes you for trying to think about it. If that doesn't make the movie any worse for you, that's okay. I'm not trying to get you to stop enjoying things that you like, but for me personally, I prefer watching a story that can at least follow itself. I'm not asking for a time travel movie to make logical and physical sense. All I'm asking is that it follows the very same rules it sets up for itself. I guess maybe that's just asking too much. Oh, cool. I got a speed boost.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah, Sonic Adventures.
Blah, fuck.
Sonic Adventures PT Edition. Gotta go fast.